Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the show. I promised you guys that on Sunday when I uploaded that montage, it was like a 5-minute montage that we did on Sunday, that I would do a full show on it today because there were some questions. So that's what we're going to work on today. But there are a couple things that we got to go over first. And that is that people are starting to drop out. And they want us to believe that this is normal. Now, this is dated January 15th, 2021. You can all read the headlines there. I'm not going to read that. But this is a real story. Now, what we're running into here is a reporting issue. Imagine that number there is probably far higher and far greater. It's just that certain countries are not going to make the connection between the actual receiving of the VC and someone who dies afterwards. Okay. But apparently in Norway, they are making that connection. But you could be rest assured that many countries will simply not make the connection between receiving the VC and a death afterwards, because it will be intentional, because there's so much money behind this. And the pharmaceutical companies want this thing to be rolled out because a lot of money was invested in it. So, of course, they're going to try to minimize that. And we don't stand a chance against their billions of dollars in backing. So I wanted to open the show with that. And then also talk about this. Another round of pardons is where we're headed. 100 additional pardons. They're calling it a wave of pardons. The Don is issuing a wave of pardon, and this is all going to hit on his last day in office. And it's interesting because they only mentioned one person that's going to be on this list that's going to release tomorrow. And this one person was from West Palm Beach. I really hope he doesn't try to pardon Giswell. You know, it's sad, is even if he did, he would still have support. People would still back him, knowing that he did that. They would make some kind of excuse. So let's get into this montage, because this is crazy. Now remember, this is all about Men in Black. And many of you will remember that we did the decode on I Am Legend. Now, of course, I Am Legend also stars Will Smith, who starred in Men in Black. And in I Am Legend, in that film, it was about basically Apollo. Will Smith becomes the Apollo character. Remember, he opens up the almanac and he looks and he finds Apollo's birthday in the almanac, the winter solstice. And then they show him up doing pull-ups between the two pillars, between the two Gemini pillars, with the books at his feet, the book burning. And we also had determined, because the film Omega Man was based off of, I Am Legend was based off of the film Omega Man with Charlton Heston. And in both films, they use convalescent plasma or convalescent blood to save the world from a zombie apocalypse. And then many of you will also remember the Shrek angle to I Am Legend, where Will Smith walks downstairs and he sees Shrek playing on TV right at the part where he talks about draining the swamp. And there is Shrek, the Kek, which of course we know that that's also been attributed to the Don. So when I took another look at Men in Black, I was blown away to see all these connections, connecting all these films together. And one of you discovered this morning, that the Janus archetype also appeared in Men in Black. This is it right here. He is an immigration agent, INS, at the border, and he pulls over a truck full of illegal immigrants. just like the Dawn, who we had determined is Janus. Remember, Janus is Bifrons, which is Biff. Biff is Bifrons. And Bifrons means two faces. It's also a demon, but it's also Janus. Now, let me show you that. Here it is. Janus as Bifrons. So now we know who Biff is, okay? You got to break this down symbol by symbol. That's the way this works. Now, they say here Janus is the head of the INS agents. In the original film, he pulls over Nick, who has a van full of immigrants. However, MIB agents K and D intervene and send all packing except one. Janus talks with the other agents who know there is no INS Division 6. Janus sneaks down the hill to see what's happening and finds the agents talking to Mikey. Mikey notices and attacks but is vaporized by K. Janus then is neuralized and given a reasonable explanation. So basically he gets his mind wiped. Now, the story of Men in Black centers around this globe in Flushing Meadows, which in the film is the location where aliens landed on Earth. They actually settle in Queens. This is all part of the storyline of Men in Black. Now, to wrap your brain around this, understand that the year that this film came out, 1997, the Dawn made a replica of that globe the year that Men in Black came out. This is in front of Columbus Circle at T International Tower. The condos there, right by Central Park. Now, before we get into the montage, follow the timeline, because this Flushing Meadows globe was not the first of its kind. It all began in 1939 with the World's Fair Perisphere, and you're going to see that in the montage that I put together. The Perisphere came first, then came the Unisphere. This is called the Unisphere, and then came Mr. T's globe. They call this the Columbus Circle globe. Different location. But this location is at the same place in Flushing Meadows. Now, in between 1939 and 1997 was 1964. And this knockoff was made. This is called the Unisphere, but it was a knockoff of the Perisphere from 1939. So I'm just putting together the timeline for you so you understand what's going on. And there was a second World's Fair in 1964 when this was built to replace the Perisphere, which was much larger. It was like 80 meters across, the original one. Now, here's where things get creepy, because the Dawn, right, has roots going back to the original 1939 Perisphere. This was at the World's Fair 1939. Here's the article here. We've covered this, but I'm just setting the stage here. This article is dated on June 2nd, 2011. And they say that Trump chose this cameo sign service of 110 Waterbury Street off 10X Street in Brooklyn for the job. The Don Holmes billboard at the 1939 New York World's Fair was one of Cameo's masterpieces, tying it into the Expo's theme and appealing to buyers in the mass home market. So I wanted to document all of this. This is the Queens Chronicle, where he grew up. Now let's get into the trailer and break this down. Now that we've set the stage, let's make sure we're connected first, and we'll keep getting into this here. Looks like we are. People are starting to file in here. I'm going to be pausing this intermittently and zooming in on certain parts of this.
We agreed that we conceal all the evidence of their landing.
We agreed we would conceal all the evidence of their landing. Now, what you're looking at here is called the New York Pavilion. This was made for the 1964 World's Fair. Now again, there were two World's Fairs at this location, the 1939 and the 1964, both in Flushing Meadows / Corona. Wrap your brain around that. Here's the map, and we're going to open this up in Google Earth. It forms an arrow, like Apollo's arrow, which we just found out that Apollo's arrow is what causes disease. It's right there in Wikipedia, under the Apollo page. This is what he's known for in antiquity, bringing disease and then curing it. And here you can see that all of the Dawn's history, family history, centers and it forms an arrow or a triangle. Now let's keep looking at this. This is creepy. Here's the New York State Pavilion. This was for the 1964 World's Fair. Flushing Meadows, and there you can see, what is the whole world going through right now? That word right there. You can't make this up. Now let's keep going with this. Promise I would break this down for you guys.
So these are real flying saucers, and the World's Fair was just a cover-up for that.
You see the globe to the left. This is for the 1964 Unisphere.
Landing.
More non-humans arrive every year, and they live among us in secret.
And the World's Fair was just a cover-up for their landing.
Why else would we
The World's Fair was a cover-up for their landing. Then you're going to hear him say that they settled in Queens.
hold it in Queens?
Why else would we hold it? And the World's Fair was just a cover-up for their landing.
Why else would we hold it in Queens?
Why else would we hold it in Queens?
Now you're just going to see clips of, this is the Flushing Meadows Unisphere. You're going to see clips of this. This is still here to this day. And so I wanted to show you that because this is very important. This, someone noticed, looks like a Q. You got the circle and this little outlet drainage ditch here. It's possible, but what these are the first orbits of manned orbits and satellite orbits. There were 3, apparently. There were actually more, but they only put 3 around the globe just because of structural issues. Okay, they wanted to put more. Let's keep going.
What?
Now, to show you how important this Unisphere is, it appears as a mural inside of the home base of the Men in Black, where they all congregate together and get their orders in this secret building. And it's right here. I need to take a closer look at where this building was set. You know, what building do they walk in through the door and go up the elevator in, or go down the elevator? I need to look that up because that could tie into this as well. But here you see the mural on the wall. This is actually a fountain around here. Let's keep going.
Come with me. Put up a bionet all the way around Manhattan. If it's
Put up a bionet all around Manhattan. I think that might be 5G Whiz.
not human, I don't want it to leave this island.
If it's not human, I don't want it to leave this island.
Yes, sir.
There you see the New York Pavilion and the Unisphere. Whoa, I missed that. See, I do like to watch these over again because I always miss stuff. What is that? That looks like a crown or ring with stuff illuminating out from around it, right? Let's keep going with this. Unreal.
Warning.
There's the full thing. Now listen to this.
8 minutes to the destruction of Earth.
8 minutes to the destruction of Earth. Now, understand, I'll just go one step at a time. I don't want to confuse you guys. There are 12 sections around this base from space. So this is what's inside the 1939 Perisphere, this globe here. There was a utopia at the center. We broke all this down. We also discovered that this trilon, this is here, is actually a hypodermic needle. Literally, trilon is a hypodermic needle. So they already knew what was happening back in 1939. 1939. Now we're going to look in Google Earth, but I wanted you to get the proximity and understand that all these structures are still there. Now this is going to the Don's childhood home.
Why else would we hold it in Queens? Why else would we hold it in Queens? Why else would we hold it in Queens? We agreed, and we concealed all the evidence of their landing. So these are real flying saucers.
More non-humans arrive every year, and they live among us in secret.
And the World's Fair was just a cover-up for their landing. And the World's Fair was just a cover-up for their landing.
Now here's a close-up of the Don's family billboard that appeared at the World's Fair. And it's got the RX, which means prescription. Now after I've laid all this out, it's going to make perfect sense to you about why the Don is the first president under which alien disclosure has become mainstream. People don't laugh at people that believe in aliens anymore, do they? That happened under the Don. It didn't happen really under Obama. Kinda did, but now it's official. Now this all makes sense. It all makes sense now. Let's keep watching. Now, we already did a breakdown comparing this billboard to Back to the Future because it also says the home of tomorrow. So watch that video if you want to see the Back to the Future connections. Twin Pines, Lone Pines, Pines. See? It's all connected, you guys. It's real. It's real. So this is the documentation that the Don commissioned this globe at Columbus Circle as a replica of the Flushing Meadows Unisphere. And this globe opened in 1997, the same year as Men in Black released. And here is the slam dunk. He commissioned the globe 58 years after the World's Fair, Paris Fair. Now we know what the 58 is all about. Remember all the 58s we uncovered? This is the slam dunk. Let's keep going. By the way, I forgot to add this to the video, but he also, 1997 was also 33 years after the Unisphere in 1964, 65, I believe. 64. 33. And of course, when you look at the HEB, you can't even say that word. I got a video that I had to take down because I said the HEB word. You're not allowed to say that anymore. But they have a whole calendar, and these are the years. So 1997, the equivalent in the HEB calendar is 5757. And now you know why T Tower is on 57th Street. And of course, here is the billboard from Back to the Future. I'm not going to go back through that again. And we found all the other connections to the signature phrase, "You're fired," the bow flex, the bow of Apollo, the arrow that makes people sick. I'm going to pull that up really fast, just because I like to try to get all of this stuff in here. Sorry. Because you guys need to see all this proof. Apollo is the healer, but he is also the bringer of disease and death with his arrows. He sends plague, but also prevents it. See that? Okay, let's keep going. Of course, this is Mr. Needles. This is Flea. Let's go back. Actually, I didn't put it in this video, but who Marty is looking at is the Flea. He plays Mr. Needles. That's who plays Mr. Needles. And guess how old the Flea is? He's 58 years old. Now, I wish I could make all this up, but I can't. I just see it. I see the patterns. What is happening here? This is the Matrix. This is our reality. It's the spirit of good or evil that rules the synchronicity. You're either ruled by darkness or you're ruled by the Holy Spirit. And so that's what is happening here. It's manifesting. The veil is falling. And you got to figure out what side of this you're on. The enemy is bragging about what he's doing right now as we speak. How we open the show, showing you that people are dropping out, and they're still lying straight to your face. As people are dropping out in Norway, they're still lying straight to your face. And maybe this is a spiritual requirement. Maybe the enemy is required to disclose the lie through his Hollywood wand. And that's how he can wage battle on God. But then God says, okay, you have to disclose what you're doing so people can see the truth. And if they still choose to reject me, or they still choose to follow a man instead of me, then there's their judgment right there. So this is crazy, because this is a Van Gogh painting. It's a self-portrait. Are you ready for this? This is one of very few self-portraits that Van Gogh made. And it is called pointillism. Pointillism. That is the method of the painting. And it uses needle-like points. And this is why this appears just after Mr. Needles, the Flea, who's 58 now, is talking on the screen to Marty. And who is the man in the mirror? That would be the Mr. Gemini. There are many skits showing Mr. T in the mirror, because he likes to look at himself in the mirror. Now, I'm not on him about vanity. I'm on him about the symbolism, because this is what Bifrons is. This is what Biff is. This is what Janus is. He's a mirror face. I'm not on him about vanity, even though that's bad enough. We're not supposed to be judging people on their sins. Okay? But you've got this. You've got all kinds of images with him in the mirror. When are we going to wake up to this, you guys? It's already too late. He already made the venom. The venom has been made. That was his job. His biggest job. And what else do we have here? He is the man in the mirror. That song, by the way, came out in 1988 by Mr. Jackson. So, there is your Mr. Needles. Now, someone noticed that the 4 flags that the UFO crashes through is France, Germany, and one other. Those are all pretty much, what do they call those? They're pretty much run by the US. We have complete and total control over those countries. They're like puppet countries of the US. So that's weird, right? See if we could pause it here. Oh, Japan too. Yeah, Japan is also a puppet country of America. We control them completely. So, there you go.
You slimy, gut-sucking, intestinal parasite!
Now, what is the bug? What is the bug theme? I was thinking about this because the bug theme would probably be the blue bloods. These bugs, many of them have copper-based blood, hemocyanin. Centipedes have hemocyanin blood. Centipede, blue blood. Ready for this? This is a smashed centipede. They are blue-blooded creatures. Sorry for the grossness factor this early in the morning. But I have to make the point. What is hemocyanin? It's copper-based blood. What, Casey? Here it is right here. This is copper-based blood. Remember this time travel thing we talked about? We found this copper connection. This is it. They clone the blue bloods that had higher concentrations of blood. And then they just simply, the demon possesses it. That's what's probably going on here. This is what time travel is. It's not really time travel. It's them reincarnating. Like, I hate to use the word reincarnating, but that's kind of what they're doing. They're finding a host body. They're reanimating an old pharaoh, for instance, and they simply demonically possess it. This is what I believe is going on. Now, here's where things get creepy because I want you to look at the hemocyanin molecule. We're going to draw on this. We're going to have a little fun time drawing today because you really need to see what's happening here. Okay, this is a real copper-based molecule. Oh, man. That's the only problem with this thing. Let's do... Okay, this is my drawing app. Got to get over to the line. Now, got to choose a different color here. We're going to go with yellow. Whoa, yellow. Oh. Jeez. Okay, let's try this way. Let's go in here first. There we go. All right, you guys ready? Because this is probably going to really be the thing you finally need to see to understand what's going on. Now, I'm not making any assertions here. I'm simply drawing a picture. A picture of what you're looking at on your screen. And I hope and pray that we all finally begin to wake up. Okay, I'm going to click off of this now because we're not allowed to talk about this. But this is a copper-based molecule. Now, let's keep going with this. Because we're almost through this. Now, at the end of the film, basically he decides he's going to retire and he's going to let Will Smith do the rest, right? So remember, who's Will Smith? That's Apollo, which is like a Dawn archetype. It's an archetype of Dawn. We compared, even though Will Smith is black and the Dawn's white, it doesn't matter, okay? And at the end of the film, he gets his brain wiped by this device so that he can go live a normal life. And then you see these newspaper headlines posting here. This is the very end of the film. And you'll see the date. It's May 7th. That's 5/7, you guys. Confirming everything we're talking about, which of course is the Hebrew. I just said it again. 1997. Let's watch here. So there it is right there. 5/7. But it doesn't stop there, because another newspaper headline drops in. And here is him, of course, and he's got his brain wiped. And they're saying he, look at this double issue. You kidding me? And watch what you see down in the corner. That is Dawn's first wife. The dawn, the morning star, Aurora, Apollo is the morning, the dawn of the morning.
Not part of the job description.
So, why would Men in Black open with an immigration issue? Excuse me. It's because it all fits into what's happening right now. Now, this is from the film Oblivion. And I just finished watching this, and we did a little, we talked about Oblivion on a couple shows ago, but that show, I don't know, YouTube was having problems and some of it cut out. But basically the story I told about Oblivion is Tom Cruise is living in his own silo, in his own home. He's given a wife and a job and a cool helicopter thing, and he's a patrol person. He patrols the land, right? And he is told that the people that he's taking out are aliens, but really they're humans. And it's interesting because I just watched another film called The Fifth Wave, and I'm putting together a montage on that, and we'll cover that in a full show as well. And in The Fifth Wave, it's the same concept. They basically pit humans against each other. They tell the humans that they're going after aliens, but they're really other humans. So this is interesting. This theme is reemerging. This may be what happens. Our own people will turn against us and see us as the threat, as the enemy, when really the enemy is the controllers. They're telling us what they're doing, you guys. It's happening right now. They're trying to characterize people who didn't believe that the electrocution was real. They thought it was rigged, which I believe it was, but I think this whole thing was just a setup. It was just to create all this anger and animosity. And then, so people, by simply standing up for what they've already know is a lie, this is why they disclosed all this stuff. This is why they allowed that to be talked about, leading all the way up to the electrocution, because they wanted people to get angry about it. Think about it. They could have froze Dawn's account long time ago. Why did they wait till now? Because they wanted people to get upset about it, to draw you out, to draw the patriots out. And then our own people, we've got our own people, National Guard, our own people. And a lot of people that came back from all these conflicts overseas, they're all now going to turn on us and see us as the enemy, just like what happened in the film Oblivion, and just what happened in the film The Fifth Age. So this is a clip from Oblivion, and he's trying to talk to Tom Cruise. He's trying to tell him, look, dude, you're getting tricked. You're going by the job description. You need to wake up and think for yourself. And he wants to help Tom Cruise snap out of it. But Tom Cruise won't, and he has to see it for what it is before he will finally wake up.
Not part of the job description. You just repair drones. Don't go into the radiation zone. Don't ask too many questions.
The radiation zone is like the don't go there. I think that in that film, the radiation zone really represents like Antarctica and the wall of ice. And you're not supposed to go outside of it. You're not supposed to go outside the lines. Now, to finish up the show, many of you will be happy to see this. We're going to go into Google Earth and look at the proximity of all of these places surrounding the iconic scenes in Men in Black. And this is just creepy. It's the tip of Apollo's sphere. This, let's go in here, and we're going to go to each of these points. They're exactly 3. Well, not exactly 3, but they're in three places here. Let's turn the places off here. Okay, what you're looking at is Fred T's, the Don's father, a supermarket that he opened in Queens. And guess what? That supermarket, he was made famous by using the number 99 in the price of goods. So instead of calling it $7, it would be called $6.99. The Don's father is the person who invented that method of pricing food and goods. That's weird. And I put 6.66 there, even though that really doesn't make sense. It'd be $9.99. But when you rotate $9.99, it becomes 666. Now watch this, because there's more. Now these are within 3 miles. These points of the triangle here are within 3 miles of one another. Now we're going to go over to this is the first T family real estate transaction right here. They got like some condos or something, or apartments way back in the 1920s or 30s, something like that. Here is Fred's first home right here. We're not going to go into the street view, but I looked up the addresses. Here is Mr. T's childhood home. These are both in Jamaica Estates. They're just yards apart. Okay. Then we go over to the site of the Perisphere / Unisphere. Because remember, they were both. This is Flushing Meadows. This is Corona right here from Men in Black. Here it is. Weird stuff, right? Whoa. I think we just solved something. See this structure right here? This is part of... You guys, this is from iPet Go 3, is it not? That's what that is. Whoa. Okay, I gotta pull that up now. Real quick. Sorry. I just want to be thorough, you guys. Okay, let's go in here. Whoa. This is crazy. Okay. Okay, so here it is. Is this it? Is this the 4-minute one? Hold on. There it is. Okay. Now, I just decoded this on KJ's show a couple, 3 or 4 days ago. So if you're interested in that, check that out. Where'd it go? The baby. Where's the baby? Here it is. Ready for this? Okay. Wow. Put it in slow motion. We don't need to hear the sound. So the Phoenix flies down to this building and boom. I think we solved that. Wow. What do you guys think? Is it the same building? Unbelievable. Now, I believe that iPad Goat 3 is, I don't think it's like real. It's definitely not made by the same people, much lower quality, but we got to admit there's something going on here. Anyway, let's get back on track here. Unreal. So, what is the third point of this? Well, CORONA Park is all part of this. This is called Flushing Meadows C Park. And there you have your triangle. Now, we look at the phallic imagery of Flushing Meadows, that this central lagoon, I guess you can call it, Meadow Lake and Willow Lake, is very phallic in nature. And that would fit right in with the serpent seed and where all this is headed and what they want us to do. You know, because this is what they want. They want to inject, let's turn this around so you guys can see this. They want to inject humanity with the seed of the serpent. I'm going to flip this around so you guys can see this. This is clear phallic imagery. Right here. Actually, let's turn it back around. Sorry. There you see the test ease, circular in nature, and the phallic there. Let's pull this up here. There you guys can see it better. I wish I could outline this, but I don't, that outline tool doesn't work for this. Let's see. Let's draw a line maybe. Oh, here we could do this. So we've got I'm going to show you guys this imagery here so you can understand what we're dealing with. If I outline it, you'll see it. See that? So that's what's going on here. So now you know what they're really after with this. And there's that. Now, there's a little bit more to this before we end the show here. I will be in the chat in a minute. I like to get through the show first. But here you see it, it's in its entirety with all the labels. And there's really nothing in between. This is the legacy of the T family. And then you come back over here and you see the globe at Columbus Circle in front of T International. Here it is right here. Now they're lobbying to change the name of this building because everyone's pretending like he's going to go broke, like he's lost his business. You guys don't fall for that trick. He's made so many people so many billions of dollars. He is going to be just fine. Look at this. There's even kind of a above-below thing going on here. Let's let this catch up. Look at that, like you go underground or something. See, there, it goes underground. These stairs here. Wow, so there's the globe there. There's T International. Wow. Just wow. Is all I can say. Go to exit street view. Oh, it's still loading. All right. Now, where is T Tower in proximity to this? It is, where do we go? There we go. Get our orientation here. Here is T Tower. So there's some alignments going on here. Pretty crazy. Let's back this out so you can see it. There's T Tower, there's the globe, and this points to Flushing Meadows, kinda. So here's your tip of your spear. So that's it. That's the show. This is what I wanted to present to you guys today. Definitely found some bombshells. Let's go back in the chat. Appreciate everybody for showing up today. It's going to take a minute to catch up before I can read the chat here. Thanks to Michael, who joined as a channel member. Appreciate that. Okay, see a couple mods in there go fly by there. Now, why do we do this? What does all this mean? What are we actually doing to change things? Well, when people wake up to the lie, they stop participating in the lie. It's pretty simple. And so, people that want to come on and criticize and say we're wasting our time by looking at, all the symbolism, that's just not the case. People need to see the symbolism to wake up. Okay? They need to know they're being lied to. They need to know that the whole process of thinking that you're choosing a president is all hogwash. Now, how is Bitten's, what's his part in this as the new president? Well, he's simply there to piss off everybody. Piss off the right as much as possible. That's why he was put in. Okay, listen, this is the way it works. They have to try to find the opposite of the previous president to the most degree possible, but also while still pushing forward their agenda. So here's how it works. Before Mr. T, we had Mr. O, right? And they were polar opposites, or so we were told. Right? And now we have Bitten, and he's like the simp. He's like the opposite of Mr. T, right? He's got too much estrogen. You see how that works? And so what that does is it really angers the people that supported Mr. T. And that's by design. Like this whole, Bitten chose this lady who tried to say that black people were superior race, trying to use scientific data. What do you think that's going to do to white people? They're going to be really angry about that because that's reverse racism. That's what that is. To assume or try to prove scientifically that someone's better than another. Look, we're all the same in God's eyes. We shouldn't be running around saying, I'm better because I have this genetic quality. You see how it's so obvious, it's laughable what they're trying to do. They're trying to use these little drops, these little news drops to piss people off and to stoke feelings of racism and hate, because those feelings do not come naturally. When we're all just sitting around the campfire, or you go into a grocery store and you chat it up with someone of the opposite race, typically people just get along and we see each other as equals. But what the media is trying to do in the powers that be is to establish some kind of, they're trying to legitimize racism, trying to make it feel real when it's really not. Do you guys understand now? Do you understand what Bitten's job is now? He's like the lamest president we've ever had. I mean, the guy can't even form a sentence. That's all by design. They chose him to do that, to really just make people scratch their heads and go, wow, this is an American president. They could have run any other Democrat than Bitten, and it would have at least felt real, right? It would have at least felt real. They could have run Bernie Sanders. and it would have at least felt real. There's one or two things that happen with Bernie Sanders. Sometimes they like you to give you the illusion that you're getting close. You're getting close to the goal. Wow, you got this guy that shares all your belief systems. And then they'll attach to a guy like Bernie Sanders the whole socialist agenda. So that immediately just takes all the steam out of anything good that he talked about. He did talk about, going after agribusiness like Monsanto and getting rid of it. That's a good thing. And giving it the power back to the individual independent farmers. That's a good thing. But then when you look at his other stuff, the socialist aspects of it, that's not a good thing. You see? So they like to pose these candidates to make it look like we're being represented when we're really not. And then they never let them win. This is typical in horse racing. They'll put like these lame horses in with good horses to make the good horse look better. See? And make it look like a real contest when it's really not. We got to wake up to this, you guys. We're being manipulated. Hands down. Manipulated. So, that's what's going on with Bitten. This is why I don't spend a lot of time on him yet. We will, though. But he's simply to oppose the right. To draw people out. To really piss people off. And make people want to come out of the woodwork and, fall right into the trap. Apparently, there's been some protests at the Crabbit Hole. Not too much, few people here and there, and I wouldn't be shocked if some of those weren't provocateurs to make it look like, wow, this is why we need them. Because, what if nobody showed up? Then the National Guard would look really stupid sitting out there, wouldn't they? So they had to make some people show up. So those people might be provocateurs. But they also might be real American patriots who are really angry about Bitten. Especially with this new news coming out with this woman that Bitten chose, who is now saying that blacks are superior to whites. I mean, what kind of message does that send? And I'm a black person, and that pisses me off. You see how this works? So, me covering all the little things that Bitten does right at this point of the channel doesn't really make any sense, because all that's going to do is feed into the hate on the right, and it will create a nationalist kind of, portion of America. I can imagine that any day now, the K to the K to the Kize will be back on the world stage. They will now be legitimized. They'll start talking about them in the news to try to stoke that again. It's coming, you guys. It's coming. They're trying to push this. Don't fall for it. Right. It's the hypocrisy. They want white people to look at this hypocrisy and just get really angry about it. And look, I'm with you. It is hypocritical. It is what they're doing. And it needs to stop. But it only stops until we all wake up to their lie and how they're manipulating us. Okay? And I hope if you're a white person out there, I hope you're listening to this and you understand how they're trying to piss you off. All right? I'm not saying that you're a racist. I'm not saying that's not what I'm trying to say here. I'm saying that they're trying to turn you into one. It's coming from the top down. And don't fall for it, because there's a lot of black people that understand what's going on. My mom's kind of awake to it too. But her thing is she chooses Trump. She's a Trump supporter. But kind of secretly now, because, she's lost friends through it, and people are like, how can you be a Trump supporter? You're a black woman. And she's like, but see, I'm trying to talk to her, but it's tough. But, she doesn't vote anyway because of her religious beliefs. So there you go. Okay, now we can go into the chat here. Yeah, you lost audio because I was just clearing my throat. I don't like to cough into the mic. So I have a little switch on my mic here. I can turn it off so I can cough. So when you hear that, drop out for a second or two. That's what I'm doing, you guys. So you didn't miss anything. So tomorrow we're going to be talking about Arkansas. Okay, lo and behold, what have we been talking about for the last year? And now Gilly Bates owns 73 square miles of Arkansas. Are you kidding me? Prime farmland? We're going to talk about all the aspects of that, what that means for Monsanto, what that means for... How is it that these billionaires can just keep buying up all the prime land in America, driving up the price of land? There should be a law against that. That's the kind of laws we need. so that he can just sell it back to Monsanto or only let farmers grow Monsanto seed on it. This is a takeover, you guys. It's a takeover. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. I got some notes typed up on that. So I'll put links to all this in the pinned comments, so you guys can look all this, everything we talked about today. I'll put it in there so you can see that. Some of you like to see the proof that I provide, and that's great. I think that's awesome. Okay. Okay, let's see here. Let's look in here. The phallic design of the womb. Yeah, isn't that crazy? Man. And you know, here's what'll happen too: is the media will give the triple Ks a voice, which is just crazy. Like, why would they do that? This is all coming, you guys. Why would they do that? If they're going to silence a person like Mr. T, why would then they then open up the dialogue and allow the triple Ks to talk? And you'll see it's going to happen. And you're going to be scratching your head going, wow, that's kind of weird. Now, I give fair balance here. That's what we do. Somebody sent me an article that said that Mr. T was thinking about opening up his own social media platform. Let's see. Now, this is crazy, because I think this came out after we talked about it. Let's see if we can find the article here. Create his own. It's so weird. It's almost like, I almost feel like they're like watching the chat. You know, did you ever get that feeling? Here it is right here. Look at this. You guys, this was after we mentioned it. I mean, this is creepy. Because I said, you know, if he wanted to fix this, he could have started this a long time ago. We were talking about this the first week of January. And now, all of a sudden, this is his new idea. Well, that should have happened a long time ago. But that's just creepy, right? So, look, I'm not here to try and go after anybody. I'm here to tell the truth. And if this is what he's talking about doing, that would be great. Hey, I would go sign up over there. That would be great. Make it censorship free. Make it just like YouTube. So, I have a feeling it's a bait and switch, though. I don't really think it's really going to happen. He always does one thing and says another. So, back here in the chat. Doing that a month ago. Yeah, we were talking about it, you guys. This happens all the time. This happens every week on this channel. So people are like, he's got to be a shill because he talks about stuff before it happens like every single week. Well, that's not me. It's the Holy Spirit. That's who I give all the credit to, the Most High. He's the one. And all of you guys, too. You guys are amazing. You guys send me stuff every single day. And I hope that you see that. When you see something that you sent me appear in the show, just give yourself a hug and smile and know that God is working through you, and know that it's a supernatural thing that's happening, like right there. That's God rubbing you on the head and going, good job for sticking with it. Because that's what's going on. Someone said, I think Marcy said, they're taking pinned comments and links. Yes, they've done that to me before. They took my pinned comment away and took my links away. That's happened a couple times. Doesn't happen often, but it's happened. So, there's that. Okay. Yeah, everybody hit the like button, please. Appreciate all the new subscribers and new people watching the show. If you don't get a notification, we go live almost every day at the exact same time. So you don't need a notification, just show up and you will see the shows for the day. Every once in a while, I'll take a day or two off, but mostly if you show up here at 5:30 Eastern Standard Time, 8:30 Pacific Time, we will be here for at least 30 minutes to an hour to talk about all this stuff. and our morning show has grown tremendously, and thank God for that, right? Remember our shows were only like 30 people watching, 50 people watching. Well, God has really blessed this channel because we stuck with it. We didn't sell out. So that's pretty cool. And you guys should take all that credit as well because you stuck with this channel. All right, let's go in here. Thanks for all the compliments, you guys. I don't know about gnosis, John. I'm not a Gnosticism. I'm not into that. I get accused of it, but at the end of the day, none of this is requirement for you to have faith and salvation. It just helps because you see the lies. You're not deceived. You're not perishing because of lack of knowledge, which is right out of the Bible. But I don't like to apply labels like that, like gnosis. That's a loaded word because immediately people say that's Gnosticism. And then that turns a lot of people away from opening their eyes. Look at all the deceived Christians right now. This is a prime example. Only through this research have we discovered what the truth is and not be deceived as Christians, right? So, what good has the church done for the people? Nothing. Most of them are telling people to go out and get the VC. So what does that tell you? They sold out. So, this is the prime example of why you need to continue to search for the truth so you're not deceived. All right, I'm going to end the show there. Appreciate each and every one of you. Be saved if you haven't already. This is the most important thing above and beyond anything that you see on this channel is understand that it's time to be saved. Say a prayer. Open your heart. Don't open chakras. Open your heart to the Holy Spirit. That is the way to the Father, only through the Son. Okay? You open your heart to the Holy Spirit. That's how you do it. And then He does the rest. You crack the door open, and then He will give you little signs and symbols, bring you to Him. He will help you with your spiritual growth. Also, someone said, well, you're taking away time from us reading our Bibles. No. You should be reading your Bible every single day if you want. And there are lots and lots and lots and lots of videos on this channel that are all we do is talk about the Bible. You have to take personal responsibility and find those videos. Okay? We got a 4-hour documentary called The Body Code. It's a scripture every 5 minutes. For 4 hours. So, you should be reading Jesus' example. We talk over and over and over again about that. About really following Jesus' example. About what He did and how and if we were following His example right now, we wouldn't be going through what we're going through right now. We wouldn't be trusting in men. We would be living a lifestyle where we're not consuming a bunch of stuff all the time and having a bunch of material possessions. If we really were following His example. Wouldn't be obeying corrupt governments who tell us to do things that are against what He says. Like, instead of going out amongst the sick, we're hiding away from the sick. That's one big example that somehow all the churches have somehow justified doing exactly the opposite of what Jesus said to do. You see how this works? It's crazy. I know it sounds crazy, but it's right there in our faces. So, this program is to push you towards Jesus, not away from Him. Push you toward Bible research by whetting your appetite about what the Bible really says and following it. So you should be opening your Bible. A lot of people will agree that they're like, wow, Casey, the Bible has never been so interesting until after I came to your channel. And that's what I like to hear. When you are now opening your Bible because of the things you're seeing on this channel, that is the whole purpose of it, because the Bible is amazing. So, don't fall for the shillery out there. They will do anything they can to discredit this channel. They will do anything they can. Why don't we pray on publicly here? Because we don't pray on street corners. This is a really big street corner. It's almost 100,000 people on this street corner. And what does the Bible say? It says, do not pray in public like the hypocrites on street corners. because they're doing it for show. It would be really cool, and we'd probably get all kinds of people if we just made this a prayer channel and prayed for everybody that we can't even see, right? That would be great. But I'm not a hypocrite. I'm not going to sit up here and do it just for show. You're supposed to pray in the dark. Jesus gives us an example of what we're supposed to do. He says, when you pray to the Father, you go into a closet or a dark place. That's where you commune with the Father, not on the street corners. But look at our churches. What do? They always open with prayer on the street corner in front of the whole congregation. Half the times that Jesus prayed, he went away from the crowd. And when he healed people, he just spoke. He didn't really pray on people. He kind of just spoke. And he said, you're healed. So what is the church doing? We don't even follow the example we're given. So, read Jesus' life. Read the gospel. You know, the red letter Bible? Everything in red is what Jesus said. That's what you need to do. Follow his example and the apostles and the disciples. That's where you should probably start, right there in the gospel. And read about how he healed people. He didn't do some long drawn out prayer. My Father in heaven, this poor man with a broken leg, he had a hard life, and he grew up, he was adopted by, you get the gist. I don't want to do a fake prayer because it's blasphemous, right? But you get the gist. The gist. That's not what he did. He didn't pray multiple times over a person. He just walked up there and said, do you believe? And they said, yes. And he said, you're healed. Why aren't we doing that in our churches? Why is it all these long drawn out prayers? And it doesn't make any sense to me. So, man, this is stuff you guys need to hear. Okay. Having a relationship with Jesus isn't some complicated thing. It's just submission. That's all it is. Submission and letting him into your heart and reading about him and wanting to know about him. That's when the synchronicities come. That's when the amazing revelations come. That's when the supernatural stuff starts happening. Because you're actually in a real relationship with him. Kind of like what we do on this channel. And I'm not saying, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be anyone special. You guys, I'm a sinner too. I make mistakes. Try not to sit in my sin. There are things I'd like to improve about myself. But look at how God's working through this channel and all of us, despite the fact that we are sinners. Despite the fact that some of us smoke, or some of us drink too much sometimes, or some of us have other things that we don't feel worthy. But look at how he works through all of us. That's amazing to me. And what is the common goal? To go against the enemy and the deception and the lies, to wake people up to all this stuff so that they can be well equipped and prepared going into the last days. I love each and every one of you. Be safe.